I stood at the back of the luxurious ballroom, straightening my ill-fitting suit. It was my son's wedding day, a day I'd dreamed about for 2 decades. Ever since his mother walked out, leaving me to raise him on my own, I worked 2 jobs, fixing toilets by day, delivering groceries by night. There were winters we had no heat, but Michael never went hungry. I never missed a parent-teacher meeting. And now, here we were. Hundreds of guests, champagne flowing, a 6-tier cake that probably cost more than my annual salary. I wasn't comfortable in this world, but I was so incredibly proud. Then I saw the place card. At the family table, right beneath the golden "Father of the Groom" label, was my name, Arthur Davies. And beneath it, someone had added in mock cursive with a gold pen, "Low-educated fake dad." I blinked. Surely a joke. But then came the laughter from the bride's side. Her father, Senator Sterling Reed, a retired university dean, snorted with a smug smile. Her mother, Eleanor, covered her mouth, failing to suppress a giggle. One of her cousins whispered something to another, and they both looked at me, laughing louder. Heat rose up my neck. I looked around for my son, Michael. He was by the dance floor, smiling as the photographer snapped pictures of him and his new in-laws. He hadn't seen it. He couldn't have seen it. I quietly turned the name plate over and tried to sit, but the laughter didn't stop. Then I heard it, clear and cutting. "Well, what did you expect? He fixes pipes. Probably didn't even graduate high school." My stomach twisted. I stood up, ready to walk out. Just as I turned to leave, a firm hand grabbed mine. It was Michael. He looked at me, serious, quiet, but with something burning in his eyes. "Dad," he said. "Let's go home." I hesitated. "Michael, your wedding. Let's go home." The music stopped. The DJ froze. Guests turned. He looked at his bride, Charlotte, at her family, and said clearly, "You all just made the biggest mistake of your lives." He didn't explain, didn't yell, just walked out with me into the cold night. And the next day, everything changed. The ride home was silent, save for the quiet hum of the city night. Michael drove, eyes fixed on the road, jaw clenched tight. He hadn't said a word since we left the wedding. Not until we reached the apartment, the same one I'd raised him in, the same one I still lived in, even though he now had the means to live far, far better. As I reached to unlock the door, he finally spoke. "You know, Dad, I saw it." I froze. "The nameplate. I saw it before you did. I was watching from the side. I was waiting to see what you'd do." I turned, confused. "Then why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you say something sooner?" He looked at me, eyes filled with a raw pain I hadn't seen in years. "Because I wanted to know if they'd do it. If they'd really humiliate you, the man who raised me, on the most important day of my life." And they did. Michael pulled out his phone, tapped something, and handed it to me. It was a video, recorded secretly. Charlotte's father laughing as he handed the gold pen to a cousin. Her mother joking about trailer trash walking among us. And worst of all, Charlotte herself, nodding. "My real father is the man I'm marrying," she joked. "That plumber guy. He's just a formality." My heart sank. But Michael, he was calm, ice cold. "Dad, I didn't tell you this before, but I never signed the prenup." I blinked. "You didn't?" He shook his head. "They begged me to. Her father even offered to invest in my startup if I signed it. But I had already built something by then. Quietly, with a friend. A tech security firm." He paused. "That's why I kept living simply. I didn't want to draw attention. Last year, we were acquired. Clean deal. I made more money than I ever imagined. Enough to buy and bury their entire family's company if I wanted to. Now I was the one sitting down." Michael's eyes narrowed. They thought they were marrying a trophy, a fool they could mold. But what they didn't realize is that I had my own game in play. And now it's checkmate. I stared at him, stunned. He opened his laptop and began typing furiously. Tomorrow, they're going to find out who they really tried to humiliate. And when I'm done, Charlotte's family will wish they never mocked the man who raised me. The next morning, Michael was already dressed in a sharp navy suit by the time I walked into the kitchen. Coffee brewed silently behind him, untouched. Dad, today's the day they learn who you really are to me. Not some fake dad, but the man who made me who I am. He handed me a folder. Inside, company reports, financials, and ownership documents. The bride's family business, Westmore Hospitality Group, a chain of luxury hotels and restaurants, was bleeding money quietly. And Michael, he'd been buying up their silent partner shares over the past year through shell companies. Quietly. Ruthlessly. I looked up at him. You already own part of their company? Michael smirked. Try 48%. And as of 9 a.m. today, I'll control the majority. 9:15 a.m. Westmore Hospitality HQ, Michael walked into the glass tower with me beside him. Staff paused mid-call, jaws slightly parted. The same faces from the wedding, now wide-eyed and anxious. The conference room was packed. Charlotte's father, Gregory Westmore, sat at the head of the boardroom table, still smug, still clueless. What's the meaning of this? He barked as Michael took a seat. Michael calmly placed a thick file on the table and turned to the board. Effective today, I control 51% of Westmore Hospitality Group. Here's the proof. Here's the legal documentation. You can verify with your lawyers. A heavy silence, then murmurs. Gregory reached for the papers with shaky hands. His eyes widened as the realization dawned. You little parasite. Michael didn't flinch. No, Gregory. I'm the product of the man you all mocked. The plumber you laughed at. The fake dad who worked 14-hour days so I could go to school. Who taught me honor, discipline, patience. The boardroom was dead silent. Michael turned to the others. Let me be clear. I won't dissolve the company yet. But effective immediately, Gregory, your daughter, your wife, and all members of your family are fired. You'll receive your severance packages by mail. Gasps erupted. Gregory lunged forward, veins bulging. You can't do this. This is my company. Michael's voice didn't rise an inch. It was. Now it belongs to the man you spit on. Through me. Then he turned, nodded to me, and we walked out together, leaving the Westmore stunned, their legacy in ashes. That night, Michael and I sat on the balcony, a quiet sunset bathing the sky in orange and purple. You didn't have to do that for me, I said quietly. He smiled. I didn't do it for you, Dad. I did it because of you. Everything I am, everything I've built, is because you believed in me when no one else did. He paused. Happy late birthday, he added. Next year, we'll celebrate it the right way. 2 weeks passed. The news about Westmore Hospitality's hostile takeover spread like wildfire through local media and industry circles. Headlines ranged from "Groom shocks elite in-laws" to "From plumber's son to power broker." Michael, once mocked, was now being invited to speak at investment forums and leadership panels. As for the bride, Charlotte, she vanished from social media. Her once curated life of champagne brunches and vacation selfies went silent. Rumors swirled that she and her parents were now being sued for misappropriating funds and backdoor dealings in the company. And then one rainy evening, there was a knock at Michael's door. Charlotte stood there, drenched from the storm, makeup smeared, clutching a soaked designer handbag. Michael, her voice cracked. I made a mistake. I was under pressure. My parents, they always made me feel like you weren't enough. That your dad was beneath us. But I realize now. You realize now, Michael interrupted, calm and composed, that the man you insulted owns the roof you're standing under. She looked past him and saw me sitting on the couch. Mr. Davies, I'm sorry. I was stupid. I raised a hand. Stop. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how it turned out. She froze. Michael pulled a small envelope from his pocket. Your parents signed this when they were desperate to offload remaining company shares. It's a clause that prevents any of your family members from ever working in or holding shares in any Westmore associated business again. He handed it to her. That includes you. Tears welled in her eyes. Michael, please. Can't we just talk? He looked at her one last time. You had your moment to talk. You chose mockery over love. You chose public humiliation over respect. Now I choose silence over reconciliation. And he closed the door. Softly, but finally. 1 year later, Michael launched a scholarship program for students from blue-collar families, naming it after me, the Davies Foundation. At the ceremony, when the mayor shook his hand and asked, "What inspired you?" Michael pointed to me in the front row. That man, he said, his voice filled with pride. The one who was laughed at for fixing toilets. The one who taught me that real worth isn't in bank accounts or degrees. It's in integrity, resilience, and heart. The applause was thunderous, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the richest man in the room.